right, we are going to go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're going to come down onto our backs, but we are going to take some props with us. So if you have your blanket, just kind of roll it up. It doesn't have to be this thick. We're going to place it underneath of our shoulder blades and go into a teeny tiny supported back bend. So you can make yours a little bit smaller if you want even less of a back bend. So, and just kind of place it 3/4 up the mat and bend your knees as you come down and just take that roll right underneath your shoulder blades and then let yourself peel back. Let the back of your head come to rest on the floor. And just let your shoulder blades kind of drape around that roll. Your hands can come down to your hips with your palms facing up to the sky. And then for your knees, you can either leave them bent, take them wide, let the knees knock in, or I'm going to take the soles of my feet together and let my knees open up wide into Baddha Konasana. And if this feels like a little bit too much of a stretch for you right now, you're also welcome to take pillows and you can prop them under each thigh for a little support, or if you have blocks or anything like that, you can just kind of put them underneath to rest. And so just kind of enjoy the feeling of the neck being tilted back, being supported, instead of maybe looking down at your phone or your computer for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours today. And just come into some nice deep breaths. I'm just going to settle in here before we start moving and building some heat. Reconnecting with our breath. Maybe that's the one thing you can control today, is that length and rhythm of your breath. So bringing your attention to your belly. As you inhale, that breath starts in the belly. Feel it expand and rise. And then as you exhale, that belly draws in. And just observing that breath in and out, maybe making a little bit longer each time. And then maybe just checking in. Just noticing if you're holding some tension, maybe in the fingertips, in the wrists, maybe still in the back of the neck, or the jaw, or even in the eyelids, in the brow. Just using that breath, maybe sending it to those little areas and just asking for a nice release on that exhale. Just 2 more big breaths here. And we'll start to move if that's what you're itching for. So now gently you can bring your legs back together just for a moment, just so we can roll off to the side and move that blanket off to the side, then come back down onto your back. And if you weren't there before, go ahead and take soles of the feet together. Draw the heels in towards the body and let those knees open up wide. So now we're going to add some activation here. So feel like you're pressing the feet together, nice gentle press. And then as you inhale, lengthen the tailbone and gently lift those hips just a couple inches off the floor. So you can feel that sensation there in the hip flexors in the thighs, and then gently lower it down. And then we're just gonna pulse with this movement. Inhale, lift, lengthen the tailbone, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, exhale. And just try and keep this movement as smooth as you can. Your hips may be a little wobbly side to side, so you can smooth that out. And move with the breath. Again, not a really big lift here, just enough to really activate the glutes, the thighs, and make that little lift. 2 more here. All right. Then take the hands outside the thighs, gently close the knees back together, and take the feet back to hip distance apart. Now we're going to get a little bit more into glute activation here. We're going to ramp it up a little bit from last week. So we're going to extend our right leg straight up to the sky, just flexing the foot here. And we're going to come into a single leg bridge here. So really focus on pressing your left heel into the ground as you inhale, still lengthening that tailbone. You're going to lift the hips up to the sky and lower. And lift, and lower, lift, and lower. Keep moving here. You can go at your own pace if you want to take it a little bit faster, maybe a little bit slower to really feel that activation. And again, you may not get all the way up to the top of your normal bridge here with this leg extended. It's a little bit more constricted perhaps. So don't worry about getting up to that full height. Just really should be feeling it in that left glute here. Well, let's take 2 more. And then relax that right foot down. And we're going to go into our abs before we come back to the other leg. So bring your shins parallel to the floor. We're going to go into my favorite dead bugs. Extend your arms straight up to the sky, and then we're going to take opposite leg and arm away. So the left leg reaches to the front of the mat, or the back of the mat. Whoops. Don't spill your water. And right hand reaches away. Then back to center, starting position, and then the right leg extends, and the left arm reaches overhead. Back to center. Just taking that back and forth. Keep that lower back pressed into the mat here. You're not arching that back. Flatten it out or really engage your core here. And again, this doesn't have to be a super fast movement. Just keep it nice and steady, alternating side to side. And if you're like me, you might hear one hip clicking side to side. That's okay. All right, let's take 2 more, or even out whatever side you are on. And then let the feet come down to the floor. And now we're going to switch sides, single leg bridge on the other side. So for me, I'm extending my left leg up to the sky, flexing my foot. Arms rest down at my hips, and then inhale, press that leg up to the sky for my bridge. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. You might notice a big difference in strength from side to side. It's pretty normal, especially in the hips. Just keep breathing as you move. And last one. All right, let's just hug those knees in. Hopefully you're starting to get a little warm here perhaps. I'm going to shift a little side to side, massage your lower back. And then hands come behind the thighs. We're going to rock and roll forward and back. If you don't like this, you can just come to the side and come up to seated. We'll be meeting in a moment. We're just rolling from the tailbone up, tweaking the shoulder blades. Nice little massage of the back. Oh, I love this. And across the ankles and come on up. All right, so I'm going to flip over. All right. And we're going to go into what we call a little Superman here warm up. So we're going to step back into a plank. And if plank's not your thing, you're welcome to come down onto the knees, so either one will work. From plank, you're really activating the legs, getting them nice and firm. Your shoulders are right over your wrists. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, we're going to step our right foot forward, outside our right palm. And then inhale the right arm up to the sky for a little twist. And then take it back. We're going to take this very dynamically here, back to plank. And then the left foot steps forward, outside the left palm. Left arm reaches up to the sky. Exhale back. Step back to plank. Step it forward, right foot. Superman reach. Step back to plank. And you can do this from the knees. You just have to step it forward from the knees, reach it up, and then take it back to the knee, step it up, opposite side. You can always find some sort of modification. All right, a few more times here. Back to plank, hold, and then gently lower the knees down, come all the way to the belly. Let's take the hands wide off the mat, tuck the fingertips, and then just inhale, lift the chest, look forward, and exhale, release. Bring the hands back under the shoulders, press up and back. Briefly, just pause into a child's pose here. One moment, then tuck the toes, and find downward facing dog. So here we're pushing the earth away, shoulders come back towards the thighs. And if you like, you can pedal out those feet, bend alternate knees. And maybe inhaling back and forth onto the balls of the feet. Letting the heels sink back. And then when you're ready, coming back to stillness. And then bend the knees, look forward, and gently walk to the front of the mat. We're going to inhale halfway up, and exhale, fold. And one more time, inhale halfway up, exhale, fold. Bend the knees as much as you want to here. We're going to hang out here for a couple breaths. One more deep breath in. And exhale. Then bend your knees deeply here. Grab a set of your weights. I'm going to grab my lighter down to the 3s. And then inhale, just gently come up to standing. Move those weights down at your side. So now we're gonna really start to warm it up a bit. So we're gonna take our hands into our chest. Our feet are hips distance apart. Take a deep breath in and exhale, just sitting down into our chair pose. So a lot of the weight's in the heels right here. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, I just want you to twist your torso a little bit to the right. It doesn't have to be super intense. We're not going down into our normal full twisted chair here. Just a little bit of a revolve. And then shift your weight a little bit into your right foot. And then we're just going to tap the left foot back and then come back to your starting position. Then we're just going to take this a few times here, really loading up on that right glute. And if this gets to be too much, just settle down into that straightforward chair pose. Still nice work on the glutes. All right, 2 more. All right, then I'm going to come back to center and then step that left foot all the way back, coming into crescent pose. And here I can separate my weights. I'm going to take them on top of my shoulders, and we're going to come into crescent dips. So I'm just going to take my left knee and drop it straight down to the floor. As I do that, I'm just going to take a shoulder press overhead. So I'm rotating my weights so my palms are away from me. And I come back down, and I'm going to do that as I'm dipping down. So add a dip, and then press up. Dip, and up. And just make sure you're breathing with the movement. I don't really have a preference as to whether you're breathing in with the dip or out with the dip, whichever works for you. Last one. All right, bring the weights back down. And then we're just gonna lift up here and rotate to our left into warrior 2. So I'm gonna turn around so my back isn't to you. So warrior 2, your right knee's bent over the ankle, heading out over those toes. You can let your weights come down to the front here. All right, so try and keep the knee bent. We're going to try and keep our legs right where they are, and we're going to add some weights. So we're going to take, let's see, knuckles away from you. Inhale, shoulder raise forward, come down, turn the palms to meet, and then lateral raise. And we're just going to alternate forward and side. And so just depending on how much weight you have here, if your weight's maybe a little bit too heavy, you can put a little bit more of a bend in the elbows. Either way, you probably don't want to lock the elbows out. So a little bit of a bend there. And don't take those weights above your shoulders. No need to go that high. And if your right knee maybe is creeping up to straight, take it back to that starting position. All right. And come down. Let's take a little bit of a break with that leg. So go ahead and straighten the right knee. While we're doing that, we'll find our cactus arms. So bring your arms out 90 degrees. And then go ahead and bend that right knee once more. All right, so now, again, keep our legs right where they are. We're just gonna take our right elbow towards our right thigh. It's not gonna touch, but we're just gonna take a little oblique twist here. And then I'm gonna press my weights overhead. So come down to your cactus, little oblique dip, and then back up. So again, only take this dip as far as what feels good for you, depending on how open your rib cage and your waist feels today. And you're trying to stay in one plane here. So if you feel yourself kind of coming forward, make the movement a little bit smaller. All right, let's take one here and one more. All right, bring those weights down through the shoulders. Let them come all the way down, straighten that leg. Turn the right toes in so that our feet are parallel, toes in line with the heels. All right, so from here we're gonna come down into wide-legged forward fold, and optionally we'll add the rows. So when I come down, I'm gonna switch out and pick up my heavier weights, but you're welcome to stick with whatever you have, or again, just drop the weights and do air rows, totally cool. All right, so pressing and rooting down through both feet. Just gonna hinge at your hips, fold forward. It's okay to have a little bit of a bend in your knees here if that feels better for you. And if you're switching weights, you can switch out the weights. I'm gonna keep my palms forward to start. And then I'm gonna come up a little bit so my back is nice and flat. And then as I inhale, I'm gonna row those weights up in towards my armpits. So my fingertips and my knuckles are coming up alongside my ribs. I'm kind of leading with the elbow here. My shoulder blades are squeezing together in the back. I'm getting warm. I don't know about you guys. Let's take 3 more. And yeah, if this gets to be too much at any point, just drop those weights. You can even hang out in a nice forward fold stretch if you like. All right, so last one down. I'm gonna set my heavier weights down. I'm gonna pick up my lighter ones, and then I'm rooting through both feet. I'm just gonna inhale all the way back up to standing. I'm gonna turn my right toes back to the right. On an exhale, I'm just gonna bend my knee. Warrior 2 legs. And then I'm just gonna rotate around, pivot around on that left leg. So I'm basically in a high crescent back towards the front of my mat again. Deep breath in. And then exhale, pivot forward, gently set your weights to the side, bring your hands down to the mat, step back, plank pose. So from here, you may want to take your feet a little bit wider than maybe you normally do in a plank, because we are going to do shoulder taps. So nice, again, nice active legs, firm up thighs and glutes, and then we're just gonna take one hand, tap to the shoulder, and then opposite hand, opposite shoulder. And we're trying not to sway a lot left to right here. So you're trying to keep your hips nice and stable. That's why we took our feet a little bit wider. There's gonna be a slight shifting here. Try and stay as stable as you can. Tap back and forth. All right, one. And last one. Back to plank, lower to the knees. Lower all the way down. Inhale, little baby cobra. Shoulders melt away from your ears. Exhale, release. Press up and back. Just a brief touch in child's pose. And then tuck the toes and come up to your downward facing dog. So you can stay here. If you need to take some water or take a breath and or break and come into child's pose, you're welcome to do that as well. I'm gonna grab some water myself. And if you did use a different set of weights for your rows, you might want to switch them to the opposite side, middle of your mat, so you can get them, we do the other side. So how are you guys doing? Just checking here, everybody alive? Karen, hello. How are you guys doing? Hanging in there? Are you warm? Karen probably has a dog all over her. All right. so from your down dog, if you weren't there, head on there. And we're gonna bend our knees and step to the front of the mat. We'll inhale halfway up, so hands come to the shins, find that long neutral spine. And exhale, release. Shake your head yes and no, let all of that stress from the day just go. And then bend your knees, grab your weights, and then gently come back up to standing. All right, so I have to take all of that on the other side. So feet hips distance apart, bring the weights into your chest. Deep breath in, exhale, sit back, chair pose. Weight is in your heels. And we're gonna shift more of our weight into our left foot. And then we're just gonna toe touch back with those right toes, keeping bend in the knees. Stay in that chair pose. Oops, I forgot to rotate a little bit here, sorry. So you're rotating a little bit over to the left, and then you're adding your little touch back. So it does add a little bit more intensity to your step back here. Okay, 2 more. Stay low. All right, then come back through center with the torso, then step same right toes go back, this time just fully back into crescent pose. And then take your weights up, resting on your shoulders. And then we're gonna do those dips. So this time my right knee is gonna go straight down to the floor. And then optionally you can add the shoulder press with the weights. So I'm gonna rotate and press overhead, palms are facing forward when I get to the top. I like to breathe out when I dip. But again, as long as you're breathing, it works for me. All right, last one. All right, you can settle back through, let yourself sink through that right heel. And then we're gonna lift ourselves up, square to the wide part of your mat, and find warrior 2. So our left knee's bent over the ankle this time, and just let your weights come down in front. So make whatever adjustments you need with the legs. And you're gonna add our shoulder presses and lateral raise to the front. Actually, that's not a lateral raise, this is a lateral raise. So front raise, rotate, knuckles out, and knuckles forward. Again, maybe a little bit of a bend in the elbow here, a greater bend if you have heavier weights. And just stop below shoulder height here with the weights. Last one here. Let's go ahead and take a break. Straighten your left knee. We're going to position our hands here, so we'll come cactus arms 90 degrees. And go ahead and bend the left knee again. And now we're going to take that little oblique dip. Again, it doesn't have to be very big. Come back to center, then if you like, add that press overhead. Dip and press. Dip and press, dip, press. And again, try not to fold forward. If you're folding forward, make the movement a little bit smaller. Or you can just stay right here and do your presses. I really like to get into my obliques though. All right, one more. All right, weights come down, straighten your left knee, turn the left toes in. And we're gonna come down into our wide-legged forward fold again. So pressing into both feet. Hinge at your hips, come forward. If you're switching out the weights, feel free to grab those other weights. And again, if you need to bend your knees a little bit here, totally fine. And then we're gonna row those weights up to our ribs. Keep those elbows tight. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. And last one. I'm going to set mine down, pick up my other weights. Really root through both feet to inhale and pivot back up to standing. And then turn your left toes back to the left. Bend your left knee for your two legs. And then go ahead and spin around on your right heel, lift the right heel. Crescent pose front of the mat, deep breath in. Exhale, engage your core as you pivot forward. Set those weights off to the side, hands come down to the mat, step back, plank pose. So again here, remember we want to maybe take our feet just a little bit wider than normal, but we're still in that nice strong plank. And we're going to do shoulder taps. So left hand, right shoulder, right hand, left shoulder. Try not to sway. If this is a little too much for you, just hold the plank. You can come down onto the knees. You can do shoulder taps on the knees. It's all still good work. All right, last one. Gently come to the knees. Come all the way down to the belly. Hands under the shoulders, inhale, cobra. If you want to make it a little bit bigger this time, feel free. Melt the shoulders down. Exhale, release everything down. Press up and back through the knees. Brief touch into child's pose. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. So again, here's your opportunity. Stay in down dog, come down for water, take a breath in child's pose, whatever works. And I just have a little bit of more work to do before we bring it down, so almost done. All right, so from our downward dog, we're going to bend the knees, look forward, and walk step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Grab your weights. And with a little bend in the knees, inhale up to standing. All right. So we're going to go back. We did these last week, warrior threes with a press back. So balance, strength, everything all in one. So we're going to start by grounding through our right foot. Shift your weight into the right leg. Really power up that right leg. So you can begin to kind of pivot back Maybe just take a toe back with the left leg and then begin to hinge at your hip and fold forward. We're trying to come to like a T position and keep our hips square to the mat. So I should be able to rest a cup of tea right here on my sacrum and it doesn't spill. Then I'm going to take my weights from here, and this is just an option. So working right here is a really good option to just hold here. If you want to add some triceps, turn your palms to the back of the room or your mat and then just press back. So that definitely adds a little bit of a challenge. You can bend your standing leg a little bit more. That's going to just give you a little bit more stability. So you can try that, and just try to keep your gaze straight down below, maybe locking in on a little knot in your floor or blade of your rug. And then gently, last one, come back up to standing. Whew. And now we're just gonna add some wrist fun. So we didn't do this last week. So just, I'm gonna face forward, but you can stay right where you were. So palms face forward, we're just gonna bend our elbows 90 degrees. And then from here, you can let your wrists kind of fall down, and then you're just gonna curl them up. Let it curl towards the floor, and then up towards the ceiling. So just getting a little movement in here after maybe a lot of mousing on the computer today, a lot of typing this week. Just gonna wring some of that out here with the weights. I can hear some crunchiness in my left hand. All right. Just one more. And take it down. All right, take a deep breath in here. And we're gonna move right into that other leg. So strengthening through your left leg. Just begin to take your right toe back and begin to pivot forward into warrior three. Just let those arms come straight down to the floor. Find that those hips nice and square. Maybe you have to bend that left knee a little bit more. And then palms face towards the back of your mat. And if you're adding your weight movement, press up and back. And find that drishti on the floor below you. And your right leg is still nice and active, flexing that foot, almost like you're pressing it into a wall behind you. And then gently come back up to standing mountain pose. And then we'll come back to our wrist curls. So bend the elbows 90 degrees. Let the weights kind of release towards the floor, and then curl them up towards the ceiling. It's a nice little break after those warrior threes, isn't it? Let those weights come down to the side. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let's bend the knees deeply, fold forward. Let the weights go. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release down. And shake your head, yes or no. Maybe add a ragdoll at this point, grab opposite elbows. Add a sway left to right. That feels good for your lower back. All right, release the elbows. Inhale halfway up. Lengthen out your spine. And exhale, release. Oh, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back to plank pose. No shoulder taps. And then let the knees come to the floor. Lower all the way down. And then inhale, cobra pose, coming all the way up. If you feel the inclination, you can go ahead and take full up dog. So press the tops of the feet into the floor so that the thighs lift off the ground. You're really engaging your core here and looking forward. And then exhale, take it back, child's pose. And this time you have the opportunity to hang out here for a few breaths. So you can let that forehead come all the way down to the floor to blocks. Whatever resting place you can find for it. Maybe a pillow. And play with the distance of the knees. Maybe they're wider apart, maybe they're closer together, whatever is comfortable. And then when you're ready, gently begin to press the hands into the floor. Walk yourself back up to a kneeling position. Move any props out of your way. And shift your hips off to one side. And I'm going to come into cross-legged position. And if that's not a comfortable position for you, you can do kneeling or maybe prop yourself up on a few blankets so that your knees are either the same level or lower than your hips. All right, so from here, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale it out. And then we're just going to take our right fingertips to the floor. And inhale our left arm overhead, and then we're just going to walk the right fingertips away, bend to the right, stretching out that left side body. You can look straight ahead or up under your left shoulder. And back through center, we'll take the other side. So the left fingertips walk away as the right arm comes up. And deepen into that side stretch. Inhale back to center. All right, we'll do some more shoulder stretches and triceps. So inhale, both arms up. Let's bend the right elbow. Let those right fingertips travel down your back. And you can just stay here and hold the right elbow with your left hand. Or if you like, you can take that left hand internally rotated. It comes around the back and you can either grab your shirt or if you can reach the hands and you interlace your fingers. So whatever is accessible for you. If you also have a belt, you can use a belt as a little extension there in the back as well. And just try not to, if your lower ribs really start to poke out too much, see if you can kind of integrate it back in so you're not coming into a back bend here. You're just stretching out the backs of the arms. All right, to switch, inhale, both arms up, and then bend the left elbow. Hair stuff's getting in the way. Again, those left fingertips are now traveling down the middle of your back, right down your spine. And then you can leave your right hand here for support, or you can do that internal rotation with the arm and grabbing the fingertips. Nice little tricep stretch and For me, I feel my deltoid too. I don't know where you guys might be feeling it. Just an observational thing. There's no right or wrong. Unless you're feeling pain. We don't want pain, so back away from that. All right, gently release. All right, 2 more arm stretches just because we did a lot of arms. Inhale your arms out to the side. As you exhale, bring right arm underneath the left. Bring the backs of the hands together or the palms to touch, or grab opposite shoulders. Once you're here, just squeeze the elbows together. That's going to spread your shoulder blades away in the back. Feeling a nice stretch there. And then release, arms come out to the side, feel the blood flow back in. And then opposite side, right arm underneath the left. You might take a different connection on this side, just depending. Again, you can always just grab opposite shoulders. Nice deep breaths. Squeeze those elbows together. Feel some space come through the backs of the shoulder blades. And release. Take the arms overhead this time. And exhale the hands forward. We're going to keep a long spine here and just walk the hands a little bit out in front. Just a very mild forward fold here. Just as far as you feel your little point of resistance. And you can still keep the long spine without kind of rounding and hunching forward. So we're just staying long, neutral spine. Nice and gentle, you're never forcing, especially in these forward folds. All right, and gently walk it back. And now we will take it down onto our backs. So coming down. Bent knees. And we did a lot with the glutes today. We're going to do a little thread the needle, or you might also refer to it as recline pigeon. But basically, we're bending our knees, and we're going to cross our left ankle over our right thigh, and flex your left foot here. So that protects the knee here. And we're just going to actively kind of press that left knee away from the body. So you might already feel a nice little stretch in the hip here. If you want a little bit more, draw your right knee in towards your chest and just interlace your hands behind that thigh. So again, we're still flexing the left foot, drawing right knee in as the left knee presses away. Maybe that left elbow just assists a little bit with the pressing away of the left knee. And you're most likely feeling a little stretch here in that left glute, that left hip. Again, if that's not where you're feeling it, there's no judgment there, it's just everybody's a little bit different. And when you're ready, gently release that foot to the floor, and we'll switch legs. So flexing the right foot, right ankle comes over the left thigh, right knee presses away, and then maybe that left knee comes in towards the chest. And that right foot is flexed, right knee presses away from the body, maybe that right elbow assists there. And gently release. Let's take Apanasana. So left knee draws in, right leg extends all the way down on the mat. Unless it's not comfortable, you can keep that right knee bent. And just draw that left knee up along your ribs. And from here, you can really take that left knee off to the side. And then we're going to take the foot up to the ceiling. So the ankle's over the knee. And so you can grab the outside of that foot and really take it off to the side. This is half happy baby. If that foot's not accessible, you can just kind of take the back of the thigh, the back of the calf. Just a little bit of a groin stretch here. Maybe a little bit more forgiving than the full happy baby pose. All right, and draw that knee into the chest. And we're just gonna cross that knee over the body, over to the right. Just a very gentle supine twist here. If you like, you can reach your left arm out to the side. And then inhale back to center, send the left leg all the way down to the mat. Inhale, bend the right knee, draw it up along the ribs. And then let that knee come a little bit wider off to the side. And then we're gonna take that foot up towards the ceiling and maybe grab the outside of that foot, or maybe you're just grabbing the back of the calf or the thigh. Half happy baby, just a nice little stretch there in that groin area, that knee off to the side of the mat. And then gently draw that knee back in. And we're going to cross that knee over to the left, come onto our left side a little bit here. Gentle supine twist. Maybe that right arm reaches out to the side, maybe the gaze follows. Not forcing anything here. If this doesn't feel good for you, just come back onto your back. And then gently back to center. Whew. And then stretch both legs down on the ground. Inhale your arms overhead. Big stretch. Left arm, left leg, stretch away from each other. Right arm, right leg, stretch away. And then everything stretches away. And then exhale your hands back alongside your hips. So that is the end of our movement practice. If you'd like to stay here and take a full Shavasana, you can certainly just shut the laptop and continue your Shavasana in private, in solitude. Or if you need to get onto other things, just make sure you gently come up. So starting by bending the knees and just rolling off to one side. Maybe just pausing here for a moment or two. And then when it's right time for you to come up, use your hands, gently press yourself up. And again, take a moment here and seated before coming up and moving up to standing and doing anything too energetic. So thank you guys for joining me. Hi, Gail. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you missed it, then you'll just have to, you can watch it in replay mode. That's right. Hi, Claudia. I hope you're doing well. So stay tuned for future events, live events, and hopefully at some point in the gym events, right? That would be nice. So I hope you guys are staying safe and well. I hope this rain goes away. We'll have some sun back. I got spoiled last weekend, so you guys are very welcome. So miss you. Namaste. Hope to see you soon. Bye.